God has no gray areas when it comes to His holy city. And no one knows that better than CUFI's founder and chairman, Pastor John Hagee. For years, Pastor Hagee has called for the U.S. to move its embassy to Jerusalem and recognize the city as Israel's capital. President Trump has now made that a reality. But there are many other battles still to be fought on behalf of Israel. I sat down with Pastor Hagee to discuss what's next for Israel and for Christians united for Israel. Take a look. Well, Pastor, thanks again for joining us once again here on The Watchman Show.
I'm delighted to be with you.
Pastor, there's a name we've been discussing a lot lately at Christians United for Israel, and that name is Taylor Force. Now, he was a young American military veteran brutally killed by Palestinian terrorists. Our team at CUFI is now trying to put a stop to that. Tell us more about the Taylor Force Act.
As you have stated, Taylor Force, he was a graduate of West Point. He served his hitch in the Army. Then he was going to Vanderbilt to study economics. And he and a group of students from Vanderbilt University went to Israel in the city of Tel Aviv. And they were attacked by Palestinian terrorists who stabbed Taylor Force to death. That person that stabbed Taylor Force now qualifies by the Palestinians to be paid a monthly reward, stipend, call it, for murdering either an American or Jewish person.
And Pastor, this is official Palestinian law.
Yes, by Palestinian law. It goes like this, that the American government gives to the Palestinians hundreds of millions of dollars, allegedly to help them have a better life. They take this money, and for any terrorist that kills a Jewish person or kills an American person while they're in Israel, they get a lifelong stipend. It's far greater than Social Security. It's a large amount of money. And when CUFI, Christians United for Israel, that you and I are a part of, and there are now 4 million of us in America, heard about this, we had a bill drafted called the Taylor Force Act, and it has received congressional recognition, and we are very, very close to it becoming law, where the United States of America is saying to the Palestinians, we are cutting this money off, that American tax dollars are not going to be used for the murder of Jewish people or American citizens while they're in the Middle East.
Pastor, let's take it a bit north to Israel's Golan Heights. Now, back in February, we had a major flare-up between Iran and Israel on that Israeli-Syrian border. This was a major event. Tell us more about it.
On the 9th of February, there was a drone that was shot into the air and came into Israeli airspace. Israeli technology picked it up as soon as it left the ground, and they followed it until it penetrated the sovereignty of the state of Israel. Israel had an Apache helicopter waiting for it and shot it down. Israel then sent jets into Syria to give a military response. One of those jets was shot down. One of the pilots was seriously injured. He's getting better, but one of them had no injury whatsoever. Israel sent 8 jets into Syria to blow up 4 of the Iranian bases and 8 of the Syrian bases. I was told by a military officer that this represented about half the work the Russians had been doing in Syria since they've been there. So it was a very strong response. And it was Israel's way of saying to Russia and to Iran, if you penetrate our sovereignty as a nation, we are going to push back. Americans need to understand that when Barack Obama gave $150 billion to Iran, Iran was on the brink of bankruptcy, but that breathed life into the greatest terrorist state the world has. And Iran sponsors Hezbollah and Hamas that's right on the border of Israel. Israel has a very sophisticated Iron Dome system that has a 90% proficiency in wartime. But the plan is to put so many of them in the air that it overloads the capacity of the Iron Dome facility, and half of those rockets get through and they go to Jerusalem. Americans need to remember they made those rockets possible with that $150 billion donation to Iran. America is going to have to shut off the funding and do something to prevent Iran from becoming nuclear, because death to them, fighting Jews and Christians, is a one-way ticket to heaven. And they see it as something that's a holy and righteous act.
Up next, more with Pastor John Hagee on the future of Jerusalem and the Christian Zionist movement. Don't move.